All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be volume 2 in the series that I'm doing called What is Friendship? And I think that that's a very important aspect of this life, of this society that we live in, particularly for the so-called black man who oftentimes is not taught to understand who exactly he should allow into his life, who he should allow to stay, and why he should allow to let them stay in his life, as opposed to who he should omit from his life, because they're bringing a deleterious aspect, a deleterious element into his life that's going to tear him down. And oftentimes, brothers are not taught what makes a friend. Why is that? Because most people that we come across in this society, especially after puberty, are not truly worthy of being friends, because the main aspect, the main component of friendship is loyalty. And most people in this society are not loyal. Why is that? Because we're living in a Luciferian environment, particularly for the so-called black man, where we have been deculturalized. Now it's pretty much every man for himself. And when you're dealing in these different relationships, not just with the woman, but also with other men, you're not quite sure why they want to inject themselves into your life. What is it that they want from you? Unfortunately, that's an aspect of life that we have to consider when we allow many of these relationships to be established, and whether or not we want to allow them to perpetuate themselves. In the case of Mr. Floyd Mayweather and 50 Cent, it's very obvious that 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather established a relationship based on certain personality traits that they had in common. And after a while, one out of the pair, that being 50 Cent, realized that Floyd Mayweather was a rocket shooting towards the skies while his own career was starting to falter. That started to happen around 2007. We all know that when 50 Cent first emerged onto the hip-hop scene in 2001, 2002 in the mixtape circuit, he was a sensation here in the New York City area. Eventually, he got signed by Eminem, aka Marshall Mathers. He had the debut album Get Rich or Die Trying, which is one of the transcendent first albums in the history of hip-hop, truly transformative and extremely influential. Well, 50 Cent met Floyd Mayweather a little bit after that album dropped, and they developed a very close friendship. Those of us who follow Floyd's career, especially on HBO, with the unbelievable documentary series 24/7, we know that in the first 24/7 series, which featured Floyd Mayweather against Oscar De La Hoya, 50 Cent played a major role in that documentary series. Their friendship started to fall apart in the aftermath of the Floyd Mayweather versus Miguel Cotto bout, where Floyd Mayweather had to serve a certain amount of time in prison, and 50 Cent decided that he was going to try to take their quote-unquote friendship to another level and try to commandeer Floyd Mayweather's professional career based off of the presumption that their so-called friendship would make Floyd comfortable to allow 50 Cent to handle business affairs. Well, fortunately for Floyd, he was intelligent enough to be loyal to his main benefactor, that being Mr. Hayman, who is a Harvard-schooled economist. Hayman is the main reason why Floyd Mayweather is so wealthy today. And Floyd Mayweather respects that, which is the reason why he continues to grow in wealth, at least from an economic perspective. From a spiritual perspective, the main reason why Floyd continues to grow in wealth is because he is a Luciferian, as is 50 Cent. And that is another thing that they have in common. And you have to understand that in that Luciferian world, it quickly becomes dog eat dog. Well, it seems like both of these so-called friends have come to a proverbial impasse that they probably will not be able to transcend or get over. And I think that it's a good thing. In life, brothers, you have to understand when something is beneath you. And I've touched on this in other videos. The so-called black man is never trained on what's beneath him. He's trained to believe that everything is on his level or above him. And that's why so many brothers try to endure situations that are not meant to be endured. Every person that you allow into your life has to have a positive impact on your life. If they're not having a positive impact on your life, you have to omit them. Everyone in your life has to be there for a reason. The job of any and everyone in your life is to make you happy. That's their job. And your job, when you're in somebody else's life, is to make them happy to the best of your ability. By doing what? By treating them with respect and kindness, wherewithal, reciprocity. Meaning what? You treat people how you want to be treated. And the closer that you are with someone, the better that you treat them, because you expect that treatment in return. That's what life is about. That's what relationships are about. And when people are not concerned with your happiness and your well-being, they have to go. And that's the bottom line of it. 50 Cent has made his bones in recent years as being a professional provocateur on the internet. And he does not care who he tries to provoke because he's just trying to stay relevant in the overall entertainment industry sphere. And of course, he's tried to cannibalize his one-time friend, Floyd Mayweather. He tried to maintain their so-called brotherly rapport because he knows where his bread is buttered. He knows that he could take pictures with Floyd and it will maintain his fame status. And it seems that Floyd is finally starting to figure it out. But once again, they are brothers in Lucifer as well. So that's the major issue. As you can see here, they're both dressed in the all black for Saturn. And Floyd is making one of those Luciferian / Masonic hand signs at the bottom. So anyway, they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Evan here with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up, man?
50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather are feuding in the nastiest social media spat I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not lighthearted. They are going for the throat. It's been dirty, man.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather called 50 Cent a herpes-infested rat. 50 said Floyd is a fake rich sucker who habitually beats women. And that's just...
It's very obvious that 50 Cent was not quite sure what to say in response to Floyd revealing that he has herpes, because for 50 Cent to imply that Floyd Mayweather is not as wealthy as he really is, that shows you that 50 Cent is willing to resort to any form of insult just to perpetuate a lot of the false info that's out there about Floyd, because one thing that Floyd has is money. There's no doubt about that. He's been able to make very good investments at the behest of his benefactor, Al Hayman. 50 Cent tried to weasel his way into that situation many years ago. It failed, and he's never been the same. For those of you who remember, at one time, 50 was trying to be a boxing promoter, and Al Hayman basically ran him out the game because he saw that 50 was trying to come into the game on some street shit. Once again, Al Hayman is a Harvard-trained economist. Al Hayman is not somebody who's just there talking shit. Actually, he does not speak in any way to the public. And that's when you know when a man is truly confident in his knowledge. He doesn't have to show his face all the time. His knowledge is going to speak for him. 50 Cent was trying to come into the boxing game in the same way that he came into the rap game, by starting shit with people and using skullduggery. And that was not going to be allowed to work by Al Hayman.
Scratching the surface. I mean, they've really been going at each other.
It's gotten really ugly.
Yeah, now remember, the two of them, it started off where they were really, really close. They were very good friends, and then they feuded, and then became friends again, and now they're feuding, and now it's...
And let me say this, brothers. Once again, when you're in a dynamic with someone else, not even just a woman, but even one of your homeboys, where you're always having these arguments and y'all falling out and then quote unquote making up and falling out, that's a dysfunctional relationship. All right? That is a dysfunctional relationship. Two people who are mature and functional, they have to know how to interact with one another and disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable when you actually care about one another. That's very, very, very important. So many so-called black men drop dead at 50, 55 years old because they've been tolerating bullshit their whole life and they keep it inside. Because so-called black men are raised to believe that one of the main tenets of manhood is how much bullshit you could tolerate. And that's not the case. When people are bringing bullshit into your life, you're supposed to eject them once you see what they're about. Of course, you're going to get into little things. You're going to get into little spats with your loved ones, so on and so forth. But it can't be so negative that it becomes all about mudslinging. Because now you're starting to tear down one another's spirit, and that results in a decreased lifespan. Once again, brothers, the people that are in your life, they have to be concerned with your welfare and with your happiness. All right? Now, you can't make somebody happy who's not happy by nature. But when you're trying to take away somebody's happiness who's naturally happy, that means that that person who's trying to take away your happiness, they have to go. They have to go. Bottom line of it. Because people are either going to be there to build you up or to tear you down. There are very few people who are going to be in your life that are not doing either one. And unfortunately, there are many negative people out here. So you have to understand what your wavelength is. And people have to deal with you on your wavelength. You have to deal with them on theirs. You have to be able to communicate properly. If you cannot communicate with somebody in your life that you consider a friend or a significant other or what have you, it's not going to work in the long run. So many people have communication issues in this society because we live in a Thelema society. Do what thou wilt. Very few people consider the next person, whether it be a family member, their significant other, their so-called friend. Very few people have the consideration for someone else. They don't meditate on what's going on with someone else or how to be considerate to someone else. Everything is all about them. And that's why these relationships, they come and they go so easily. With your friends, with your family, with so on and so forth. So these are things that people need to be concerned about. And that's why these two have such a tumultuous relationship. And could it possibly be that there was some type of Luciferian homosexuality going on between them? I don't know. I'm not going to go there. All right. I just know that it's very strange for two men to be publicly arguing on this level.
And now it seems like it is over. Well, a man who knows both of these guys really well is Fat Joe, the rapper. He, at one point, was beefing with 50 Cent, but he managed to bury the hatchet with him. He's friends with Floyd Mayweather as well, and he's kind of helped them, come together.
All these guys are Luciferians and pansexuals, all of them.
Together in the past. So, Babcock, you spoke to Fat Joe, and you asked him if there was a shot that the two can reconcile and bury the hatchet again, and this is what he told you.
Guys, I know they love each other. So somebody got to get in the middle. I'm tired of being the middle guy. Like, I'm tired of the guy breaking everything up. I mean, they're brothers, man. I don't like it. I don't like it because they're both beautiful guys to me, man. Me and 50 had beef for 7-8 years, and now we cool. I think maybe in the long run they'll figure it out, and I really believe that they sincerely love each other and they brothers. Unfortunately, this playing out in social media.
All right, so he believes that there's a chance that they figure out a way to come together, but he doesn't want to be the middle guy again. He says, I'm tired.
If I'm Floyd Mayweather, you know what? It's time for you to move forward with your life, Floyd Mayweather. 50 Cent as well, but the reason why I pointed at Floyd Mayweather is because it's very clear that he's the alpha in their relationship. 50 Cent is having a hard time with his career descent. Floyd Mayweather seems to be just moving upward and upward and upward and upward because of smart business decisions and very lucrative associations. Sometimes you could make money just based off of the people that you have relationships with. And just the fact that 50 Cent tried to snake Floyd Mayweather out of his business association as opposed to coming to Floyd and saying, do you think that you could hook me up with a meeting with Al so that maybe I could learn some of the things that he knows, or maybe develop a business partnership with him as well? That's how you develop positivity in your life, man. People who are always looking for a negative route or a negative way to make money or to establish themselves as being a prominent person, all the energy around them is going to be negative, and eventually they're going to come down. They're going to be torn down either by their own bad decisions or by someone equally as negative as them coming down the pike after them to do to them what they try to do or were able to do to somebody else. So once again, brothers, I cannot stress this enough. You have to be very scrupulous in regards to who you allow in your life and understanding what a true friend is. It's very difficult in this life, in this society especially, to meet a true friend because most people are disloyal. Most people are disloyal and they do not know how to love properly because they're too self-centered. So what Floyd Mayweather is figuring out is because of the position that he's in societally in regards to what he brings to the table, it's going to be very difficult for him to be able to maintain anything of substance in regards to a relationship. And I'm sure that he lives a relatively lonely existence.
I'm tired of being the middle guy. He does not want to be the peacemaker here.
But to be quite frank with you, most great men live a relatively lonely existence because it's very difficult for them to meet people who understand them.
Here, but believes that they can come together and find peace somehow. Babcock,
come on, Joe.
Explain that to me.
I don't get it. If these two, after everything that's been said, can come back together, then there is hope for peace on this earth, because that's how bad it's been. But I really think that it's going to take somebody like Fat Joe, who has credibility, who's famous, and knows both guys, to bring them together. That's the only way peace is going to come here.
I will say this. If you go to their Instagram page and you read the allegations they've been making about each other, it seems like it's gone past the point of no return. There's no coming back from the
mutually assured destruction
about each other.
Well, when Floyd Mayweather decided that he was going to FaceTime 50's son, I think that's what took it to a level and to a point of quote-unquote no return, or possibly no return. Who the hell really knows? At the end of the day, when somebody's trying to pull you into that toxic level of interaction and you decide to follow them there, is because you're just as toxic as them. The difference between Floyd Mayweather and 50 Cent is that Floyd has far vaster funds to perpetuate this back and forth and this toxicity than 50 Cent does. So 50 has to figure out if he really wants to beef with Floyd Mayweather. Because if Floyd decides that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to let you lower me to the level where I'm going to beef with you, Floyd is going to win because he just has more funds than 50 Cent.
They're destroying each other.
And personally, I think they each look worse. I don't think any one guy looks like he's going to
No one's winning, they're both losing.
Yeah, it's a bad situation.
It is what it is. But once again, brothers, please make sure that you maintain an understanding that you have to take inventory of the people that you allow into your life, because people are electrical. They bring a charge, either a positive or a negative charge. So peace.